Mr. Suneet Vats, Vice Chairman VIPS and alumnus of Columbia Business School, Columbia University, New York, is a distinguished professional in the education field. He is the backbone of the institution and one of the primary reasons for its growth and success. I now, with a lot of honor and pleasure, request Mr. Suneet Vats, Vice Chairman VIPS, to address the gathering.
Good morning, everyone. I hope I am laudable and my voice is not as thunderous as what Professor Subbarao sir was. So my apologies in case I am not audible to people sitting at the back. Respected Chairman sir, he's the founder, not only the founder in terms of what you see here in the campus, but everybody who's present here is all because of his blessings and his vision, which he kind of dreamt of in deeper Himalayas in the year 2000. Orientation is a very special day. Both professors sitting here, Professor Venkat Rao sir, Subbarao sir, I think they are epitomes of knowledge. Their humility is something which I would, in fact, would love to have it in my life all throughout. They always teach you something, as and when you come across them, they are in that mode where you kind of learn so many things directly and indirectly with their influence. And their influence doesn't really stop, to these four walls that you see here, or to the institutions that they have belonged in the past also. Their influence is, as many alumni that have passed out, they are holding high positions now in Supreme Court, both as judges, as lawyers, and, eminent scholars and researchers all across this country and even abroad. So it's our, privilege to have them, both of them here. Dean ma'am, Dean Rashmi ma'am, she's always, as Subbarao sir has beautifully put it, that she's somebody who's hands-on, holding on to the team together. She is the glue, which is a common platform which takes everybody along with her. Dr. Shilpa Khatri Babbar ma'am, her academic profile, given the distinction that she holds, and the kind of work that she does both at academic level and for NSS is commendable, and I think we need to learn a lot of things from each of us present here. Since it is an orientation day, I'd like to keep it very crisp, and for the reason because Chairman sir has to leave a little early also. So I would like to bring out what this orientation is all about, what the Industrial Revolution 4.0 is, and that's a topic that I would like to it's closer to my heart now, since my subject is management stream. Students of law need to have cognitive diversity, and when I say cognitive diversity, it means that it's not just about studying your own subjects related to law, but then walking across, there are 5-6 different departments that we have now. Find the latest one being the engineering block that was introduced. So Internet of Things, Industrial Internet of Things, machine learning, artificial intelligence. There is enough law which has come in. The European Union, possibly in 2018, came out with a very detailed guidelines as to what should be the algorithm check should be. Because I don't know, I mean, sir have talked about traditional law streams. I'm more futuristic in terms of wanting to understand what these technologies would be all about and what the disruption is all about. So as Chairman sir normally says, law governs from cradle to grave. There is no aspect of life which doesn't get touched by whatever we do in our interaction. Either it may be business interaction, human interaction, countrywide interaction, between different nations. There are interactions which are happening at all the time. So cognitive diversity is what I would recommend, that you have to be prepared for this kind of flavor that you need to carry with yourself. Don't focus yourself, don't be narrow in terms of doing what you want to do as lawyers. I would give you one example. A parent walked in, was more keen on getting an admission into a BA LLB program. I was trying to push him for BBA LLB, to be very honest. The reason was, their thinking about BA LLB was that it's what is recognized, is more acceptable, but not wanting to understand there are negotiations which are happening across transnational companies which talk in those terms which are commercial in nature, and anybody who's a good lawyer needs to understand what those commercial terms are all about. What are mutual negotiation, contracts which have been signed across those companies. So cognitive diversity is something which I would recommend, that keep reading as much as you can. People sitting here are epitomes of that. They have knowledge across domains. I would give you another example. Mathematics, does it scare you? I know it scares. People would not have thought about what mathematics will do in law stream. I can quote a lot of judgments, especially Supreme Court of US, and I'm not sure about Indian context. They have accepted, mathematical models to, come to conclusions about crime where evidence is lacking, and they do a probabilistic, analytic, kind of a thing where they are tried and understand what the crime would be. These three cases are, one was about, a nurse who used to work in a hospital. She, within her tenure and 201 shifts, that she attended, 24 people died under her supervision. And there was no direct association which was being made out. There was a mathematical, faculty which was called from a department of mathematics, who did the all probabilistic analysis of how probable it is for her to be the main accused. And court accepted that kind of evidence when it came out. Second was about a lady being robbed on a pavement, where they identified two of the eyewitnesses, identified what those people looked like, and doing a probabilistic analysis again, the police was able to comprehend and put bring them to law, because they could be as close as the probability of it was 98%, as high as that. So and there was defense which was saying, no, this is not the right way of doing it. But then my point is that this is how law has to, and people who are wanting to be practicing law here should know that there are tools which are available even in mathematics. Regression is one of the tools which has been accepted worldwide, and is acceptable as an evidence where people don't even know. Third case is about two parents, their child died in caught fire, the probability of which was 1 in 73 million. Fine. Ultimately, pointing out that yes, there was enough, evidence that you cannot rule out these to be the criminal, because that higher rate of probability means that only these two people can be, blamed for it. So this is how, mathematics plays a role. I don't know how many of you would be interested. 7 departments, as I told you, walk across those departments, I would say. Because legal aid is not about aiding, somebody who's under 2 lakhs of, income group or any other social group. But then it's about walking across, departments to understand what those streams are all about, and trying to help them. So legal aid can be extended to other departments in terms of what those extensions can be and how meaningful, law can be. Collaboration. I don't know how many of you would understand this part, and I am saying this other than law. These are qualities that you would need to, possess, because law firms, their character is changing. There are law firms which are, kind of disintegrating given the world order that we are into now. What that means is that you need to understand what kind of collaborations you need to get into. Will that be permanent collaborations? Would it be a, project-based collaborations with experts which come from, multidiscipline areas, and, you meet for 2 hours and then you disintegrate into another team. So collaboration is another part. Negotiation and influence. I think whenever you walk into a courtroom, you are negotiating with the judges who are there. You are negotiating with a counterpart that is present, your adversary who's there. You need to have right kind of negotiation skills with you. And why is it important? There are tools which are available. Again, as I said, there is something called ZOPA, there's something called BATNA solutions, and these are things which are being practiced by very eminent lawyers, because it gives them that extra edge. Understanding law is within your grasp now, because anything is available on apps. Fine. So you need not kind of rote learn into what the sections would be. That would be available to you, but understanding it by critically examining it and having those negotiation skills which will help you get a better negotiation for your case is something I would recommend that you should kind of join some kind of course doing that. There is something called distributive bargaining, which is part of negotiation again. Why distributive bargaining? Because there are multiple players when you are in a negotiation, like a scenario where you are in a courtroom, there are multiple parties which may be involved. You need to understand what each party is expecting out of the outcome. You cannot be selfish enough that I only should win and others should lose. You need to have that pragmatic outlook towards, understanding what people are and how much can I, part of compensation can, give the other party the leverage. These are very important skills, and I don't know whether you're listening, because I could have asked you to, kind of repeat morning, as Professor Subbarao sir said, to check on whether you are, attentive, not attentive. But then given the fact, I would place two more things now before you. One is related to IPR, another one is to copyrights. I hope you are all movie lovers, and that's where my connect becomes better with students, because they understand what am I trying to talk about. Worldwide, if you see, there are king of your franchisees which are related to Iron Man and your Harry Potter and other things. These are now becoming very real life experiences which people want. So merchandising is becoming another big area in terms of IPR and its violations. There were companies which were allowing this to happen, because if I would put Star Trek, Star Wars as one of the movie collectors, 8 billion was the collection by movie sales in terms of tickets. But then when it came to merchandising, they could gross in $38 billion. So merchandising is that, kind of, I'm just trying to, broaden your canvas. I'm not trying to, show you how fancy things can become. I'm more on the commercial side, so I would kind of take that up with you people, because that's how, the world is growing. IPL, the kind of matches, the ticketing that they, earn, they earn more from merchandising. Now the game behind merchandising is that if you start, people were earlier liberal in terms of whatever could go out. So if Harry Potter's people would have watched, there was a match which was done, which was called Quadric match. 300 universities adopted it, worldwide, and they had their own version of that kind of match, which Warner Bros. Initially allowed those to happen because it was kind of, facilitating them and, helping them without to advertise their publicity was being done. Sooner they realized that, there is a revenue loss and a revenue leak there. And they started plugging in those. And that's how, it became, merchandising is now becoming some of the areas, because IPR people will only talk about medicines and other things and copyrights about books. But then these are areas which are commercially very, I would say still virgin in terms of its exploration. Second, when it comes to, again, I would go back to movies, franchisee models again, the gross, collections done by any of those franchisees is huge in numbers. I can't even tell you the numbers, because if you start counting the zeros that, possibly it accompanies, people are protecting, those rights now to the extent that, there are agreements which are facilitating that kind of an arrangement now. So, I mean, look at the canvas which is bigger than, criminal law or civil law for that matter. There is a world, waiting for you to be embraced, because I can see future jurists, judges sitting here right in front of us. As sir said, that's the future sitting here. So I think the future is here, the future belongs to you. The only thing is you need to broaden, as sir said, you need to broaden your horizons, you need to expand your knowledge base and get across. With those words, I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity, and I hope I have finished in time. Thank you.